Note to self. Never drink blue liquid on a desert space planet, because then you be trippin'. Dune Part 2 released this past weekend in 2024 and is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who is also behind such films like Sicario, Enemy, Prisoners, Arrival, Dune Part 1, and Blade Runner 2049. And this film is starring Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Dave Bautista, Christopher Walken, Leah Seydoux, Charlotte Rampling, Javier Bardem, and Stellan Skarsgård. Once again proving that this movie is actually a movie because it has at least one Skarsgård in it. Paul Atreides and his mother have recently joined the rebellion with the desert people of Arrakis. And it's easy for Paul to learn these people's ways, and is slowly convincing every one of them that he is the prophesied Messiah come to liberate the world and to free the people. But on the other side of the planet, the Harkonnens have taken over the planet and the spice processing again, but production is slowing since Paul is able to lead his people and destroy a whole bunch of spice refineries. Now the Emperor and his daughter are getting in the mix, sending out some pale psychopaths to take out people, but also Paul's mother has a little hidden agenda as she is spreading political messages and stories all throughout the planet, convincing everyone that Paul is the absolute best and he's the Messiah, which I'm sure is going to lead to something down the road. So this is the movie that everyone's been talking about. I remember everyone talking about the very first film when that came out in 2021. It was released both on HBO Max and in theaters, and people were a little upset that it wasn't just released in theaters because it's such a grand picture. Everyone should just spend their hard-earned money and go to the theater and experience it. Little did they realize that we were still in the middle of a fucking pandemic at that time, people. So for me, I personally love that it was released on HBO Max at the time. That way I could watch it in the comfort of my own home. I wish I would have had that same experience here, but you know, I don't know. I'm weird. I'm one of these moviegoers where I'm like, I kind of like watching them at home. I don't like dealing with other people's shit because other people typically are terrible in the theater. Kind of had that experience with this one too, but I'm just going to leave it at that and I'm going to focus on the movie. And the movie is a breathtaking picture. The visuals that we have in here are absolutely beautiful and stunning. It's Denis Villeneuve. What else is there to expect from him? He's done some interviews recently where he's talking about, I don't like dialogue. Dialogue belongs in TV and it belongs in theater plays. In movies, I just like pictures. I like making moving pictures. And I appreciate that because that's really the best thing that comes out of this medium of film, is that we don't need to have dialogue. We could just have images on screen, moving images on screen, and that tells a story. And we have a ton of that in here. There are several sequences where there is no dialogue and you just see a sunset or an eclipse happening, a beautiful eclipse happening, by the way. The visual effects in here are out of this world. And I would never think of desert sand dunes to be a gorgeous thing to look at, but there are several times where Timothée Chalamet is sitting on a dune looking out over a sea of sand, and it's absolutely beautiful. What is not sinking its hooks all the way in for me is this story. Maybe specifically the pacing of this film. This is a 2.5-hour movie, and there's a lot of things that happen in here. But a lot of things that don't really, flesh out or play out to the ending climax that we have. It feels like we have a side mission for these characters to do, and then they complete it, and then they have another tiny little side mission that they need to do, and then they complete that, and then they move on to the next one. But there's no, overarching arc to all of these issues and problems that they're trying to solve. And they complete these tasks very quickly. And I'm sure in the book that takes months, heck, even years for these actions to actually happen, but he needs to infiltrate and learn the ways of the desert people. And then he does that pretty quickly. For some reason, he needs to go to this temple somewhere and drink the blue water so that he can have visions. And then he does that, and then he's poisoned, he's dying, no one knows what to do, and then Zendaya shows up, drinks a little bit, gives her a little bit of her tears, puts it in his mouth, and then that's fine. It's all resolved. There's a lot of moments in here that make it out to be where it's the end of the world, it's the end of the story, it's the worst thing that could possibly happen, and then someone just comes out and basically flips a switch, and then everything is resolved. There's a lot of melodramatic stuff going on here. And I think this is another case of what happened with the first film for me, where everyone was talking about this movie and everyone was giving great word of mouth and giving great praise to it. Everyone was giving great ratings and reviews for it, to the point where I'm building this film up to be something magnificent and something that is grandiose, one of the best things, the most innovative things that we're going to be seeing. And then I watch it and I go, it was good. It was good. But it's definitely not meeting the bar that I've set for it, that everyone else has built up for me. This is one of the reasons why I stopped doing trailer reactions on my channel, because I try to stay away from the trailers now. I try to stay away from as much information about the movie as I possibly can, because I just want to go in and be surprised and I want to be entertained. Because there is so much word of mouth, and great word of mouth, it seems like everyone is loving this thing, but because there is so much of it, I've built this film up to this impossible bar for me to reach with my satisfaction for it. And Timothée Chalamet, again, I think he's fine. I don't think he improves drastically that he did from the first film for me. I thought Zendaya showed a lot of great range that I haven't seen really from her in any other roles. I wish her character would have done more in the film. And yes, she did do way more than she did in this movie than she did in the first one. The first one, she was only in like 5 minutes of the thing. Here she is in it a lot more. I just wish she would have done more. There comes a point where she starts resisting Paul and what he is doing and where his prophecy, where his visions are taking him, but she just stands there and lets it happen. And I guess there are points where she is trying to do things, but then someone tells her, stay down, kneel down, shut up, and just let this happen. So maybe something will happen with her more in a third Dune film. Now, I have not read any of the books. I know that the next one in this series is called Dune Messiah, and Villeneuve has talked about how he would like to do Dune Messiah, so I'm assuming that we're going to get a third film here. With how this film ends, I don't see how you couldn't do one, since this film basically ends the same way that the first film ends, where it's like, it's the start of something. I will say that the performances that really caught my eye here were Florence Pugh. I think what she does vocally with any role that she does is just wonderful. I don't know how she does it, how she hides her accent so beautifully, and how she just changes the register of her voice. It's magnificent. Rebecca Ferguson is creepy as fuck in this movie. Apparently her character was pregnant, and I don't know if that was ever stated in the first one. I have not gone back to watch it on repeat as many other people have, so maybe that was probably a big thing that I missed from the first one. I would hope so, because if they just sprung that she was pregnant in this movie out of nowhere, then I would be a little pissed off. But it's probably something that I miss because I'm an idiot. But she's having conversations with her child because she's psychic, and there's points where Rebecca Ferguson is in her main voice, but then she changes to a Gollum Smeagol voice, and that's the little girl inside of her. It was creepy as hell. And the biggest breath of fresh air in this movie is Javier Bardem. He is comedic, but he's also serious. He is emotional, yet it almost kind of seemed like a parody at points. There are points in this movie, and I don't know if any of you have watched this film, or maybe you're a fan of Monty Python, but Life of Brian is one of my favorite comedies of all time. And there are moments in here with his character where he's putting up Paul as the next Messiah, and because he's denying it, he's taking lines right out of Life of Brian and saying like, oh, well, because you're denying it, that means you are the Messiah. Of course you are. Made me laugh. I don't know if that's from the book or if that was written because Denis Villeneuve is a huge Monty Python, Life of Brian fan like myself. But that made me very joyful and made me laugh a lot. Dune Part 2 is a triumph for many people. This is a stunning picture. It is a beautiful film to look at. For me, I'm probably going to be in the minority when it comes to the story. It is not gripping me as much as it seems like it's gripping everyone else. This story is very cut and paste. We have a little mission that we're trying to accomplish, and then they do, and then another little one that they're trying to accomplish, and they do. And I don't see any struggle when it comes to anything. It just seems like, yep, we're doing the things, and we've completed them, so yeah. Like towards the end, all of these different parties are sieging on the main space station where the Emperor and his daughter is, and they're doing out all the battle plans, and the sandstorm's coming in, and it's going to be this big epic battle. There's no big epic battle. It just happens. We're like, oh, we need to, you attack from this side, you attack from this side, you attack from this side, and we'll meet in the middle. Go! And then they just do it. There's no build-up or struggle at all that I see from these characters. These characters can just do whatever they set their minds to, which I guess is very inspiring now that I think about it. This film is not as big of a triumph for me as it is for many other people. So for me, I'm gonna give Dune Part 2 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
So guys, if you've seen Dune Part 2, what did you think about it? What is your ranking of all of the Dune films? Let's talk about the original Dune film that I've never seen before, and then also Part 1. Where does this one rank amongst them? Whatever you thought, comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.